Hello everyone. Today I'm going to finally give you the long-awaited update on basically everything, but to start, the ultimate acrylic yarn comparison, the fast follows. You can see I have all the swatches on my desk, and you can see my dog down there. Try not to get too distracted by her because she's adorable. But so the 4 swatches that I have to update everybody on are these guys. This is the Willow Wash from China, not the turkey one. This is Lion Brand Pound of Love, Premier Yarns Basics, and Red Heart Super Saver. I also added another one in since I spoke to you all last. This is Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek. This one I'm only 5 washes in on, so I don't have a lot of info for you yet, but that is going to come at some point. But on these, I have the old swatches generally laid out in the order that I ranked them for softest last time. You will notice one swatch is missing, and that is the paint box, Simply Aran. And the reason for that is because I had to frog it and use the yarn for a project because I was playing Yarn Chicken. The Naya Mosaic blanket, I needed exactly the amount that I had in the swatch. So I have more paint box yarns. I will eventually replace the swatch so it can continue to be in future comparisons and everything, but you will notice it's gone. So while I have these in the general order, let me show you where I ranked them in softness. So this right here was the old Willow Wash, this purple swatch, and I had it ranked as being softer than this is Caron Simply Soft. This is the new Willow Wash, and I'm ranking it below Caron Simply Soft. Like it's very similar to Caron Simply Soft in a lot of ways. So the conclusion I have there is that in terms of softness, and we'll get to durability and workability and stuff, if you can find the stuff that's manufactured in Turkey, that's way better than, well, not way. I mean, there's one swatch between it, but it's better than the stuff that's manufactured in China. These 3 here, they honestly all feel about the same. Pound of Love might be a little softer than Basics and Super Saver, but all of them are about the same softness as Brava and not quite as soft as Big Twist Value. So they all go down there. I mean, which is to be expected. They're cheap value yarns. I mean, you get a lot of yardage for a really low price. And so they're not going to be as soft or as amazing as these other more expensive yarns. So they certainly are comparable to the other value yarns and still certainly softer than the Caron 1 pound and the Loops and Threads Impeccable. But otherwise, it basically, like, here's all the value yarns here at the bottom of the spectrum, pretty much. The only other one that's kind of considered a value yarn is the Stylecraft Special DK right here, but that's hard to get in the States. So if you're in the United States, these are your value yarns, and they're all about the same in general. That also goes for durability. So in terms of durability, if you remember before, I didn't do a ranking like this because lots of swatches were just too similar. But I did have categories of things that I thought wore out prematurely, those that were average, and then the above average, and the stuff that was amazing. And if you'll remember, the amazing stuff included things like the Premier Anti-Pilling, Joy DK, Impeccable, even though it's not very soft and not very fun to work with, it was very, very durable. So those were up there. But anyway, so going back to Willow Wash, the durability on the turkey stuff is definitely, like, visibly better than on the China manufactured stuff. Like, it's really hard to see on camera these slight differences, and I can try and show you closer, but there's a lot more visible fuzz on the gray one than the purple one. Even the end started you know, unraveling more. Now I did weave in the end on this one, but honestly, in terms of durability, I would compare the China manufactured Willow Wash to Caron Simply Soft. Like, they even have a similar sheen and everything too. It's still technically an anti-pilling yarn. And it's true that you don't see any pills here in the center and everything, whereas you do start to see some of them forming on the Caron Simply Soft. So it is still, durability-wise, better, but not as good as it was. So where this was above average before, like one of the best ones, this one's, or no, yeah, I don't remember how I did that. I think I had this as one of the winners, and then my above average was called runners up, and I put this as a runner up this time. So still good, still better than stuff like this, which is average, but not quite as good as it was. As for the 3 value yarns that we added here, they basically all went in the premature category with, again, their contemporaries, like the Big Twist Value, like the Hobby Lobby I Love This Yarn. The Hobby Lobby I Love This Yarn and the Basics wear very similarly, where they get this pilling in the middle, or it's not necessarily pilling yet, it's fuzz, but not necessarily a lot of fuzz showing around the edge. It's all the wear that shows in the middle, whereas other ones, like the Big Twist, showed a lot around the edge. Paint Box was the same way, and that's how the Red Heart Super Saver is too. Like, there's lots of fuzz on this edge, and I think it's easier to see that way on top of the blue yarn. The contrast is great. So yeah, again, the value yarns are basically all the same in terms of softness and durability, other than, of course, Impeccable being the weird, odd, durable one. So for me, choosing a value yarn would come down to color selection. I really love the color selection of the Premier Basics stuff. It's a lot of really modern colors. Big Twist has some nice colors too, but they're a lot more bold, like where some of these are muted. I'm not honestly too familiar with the Hobby Lobby I Love This Yarn color selection, and then everybody knows Knit Picks color selection is huge, whereas things like Pound of Love, I think you have a total of 10 colors you can choose from. So other than color selection, the way I would pick is workability, which yarns are nicer to work with, and honestly, if I had to pick, not factoring in color, the ones I enjoyed working with the most were these ones: Big Twist Value, Premier Basics, Hobby I Love This Yarn, and Lion Brand Pound of Love. If I had to choose based simply off of what I liked working with the most, I think it's these. Knit Picks, it kind of rides the line. I really didn't enjoy working with this swatch and everything. And when I was doing all that stuff, like actually doing swatch after swatch after swatch, and it was fresh in my mind, I really didn't like it because it was squeaking a lot and everything. I've since done an entire skirt with it for my niece, the Skirty Soaker that I put on the blog. And as I was working on that, I didn't mind it so much. I mean, that project had the North Shore, or Cascade Yarns North Shore, which is now discontinued as well. And comparing those two side by side, I obviously loved working with this one way better than this, but if you haven't worked with anything else other than basic value yarns, you're not going to notice any difference. It's only once you've started to work with other nicer yarns like anti-pilling yarns or wool yarns, things that are nice and soft, not as squeaky, have a little more elasticity to them, that you're ever going to know that these aren't very nice to work with at times. So I think that's everything I have to say on the fast follows. Again, I have one new one coming, the Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek. So I have, again, at only 5 washes, I have no idea on durability yet, though. It is definitely already softening up pretty nice. This is going to sit higher on the rankings for softness, I believe. So we'll see how that pans out. For a quick update on the Ultimate Cotton Yarn Comparison, basically where I'm at this point is I have washed every single dishcloth at least 15 times, if not more, because I just tossed all of them in the wash every week, regardless of whether or not I used them. And they all basically look about the same, which is to be expected. It's cotton, it's durable. 15 washes isn't going to show much of anything. And then, of course, I am trying to rotate them weekly in my kitchen, and I'm realizing it's going to take quite a while to see how that pans out, too. I think what I'm going to have to do to check durability is something kind of like putting them in a rock polisher, which sounds kind of strange, and it kind of rubs me the wrong way because it's like I don't want to intentionally try and destroy these cloths, but I think it's the only way I'm going to know. So I'm going to have to get like a bag of like pebbles or something from Michael's and put them in a bucket with some water and a dishcloth and let it rotate for who knows how long and see what that does. If after running every cloth through a makeshift rock polisher for 15 minutes shows any signs of wear, then that works. If not, then at this point you're just going to have to wait for like years to find out what the durability on those things are. In terms of how I've felt about actually using them, I am noticing the absorbency differences that were shown in the other videos. Particularly not the total absorption, because there was a difference in the speed of absorption versus total absorption, like what could it absorb quickly versus what it could hold overall. And that speed of absorption, even after, you know, washing everything like 15 times now, that still seems to be the case. I am noticing, particularly with like the Crafter's Secret and the Hobby Lobby stuff. Like, again, I know the Hobby Lobby I Love This Cotton is not intended to be a dish cloth yarn, but I figure it's good for comparison, see what different types of cottons and everything, how they affect having a dishcloth and all that stuff. But I am noticing where it's like, oh, I tried to wipe off the counter, it just smeared the water around rather than absorbed it really quick. So at this point, I am still definitely a big fan of those quick absorbers like Lily Sugar and Cream. And at some point, I will do a second absorbency comparison just to be, you know, have actual data now that they've for sure been washed long enough, there's no coatings. But I have a feeling it's going to be about the same. So maybe after I figure out how to do the durability thing, I'll get to that. Lastly, just a general update, because I am clearly dragging on all these updates. I've gotten to the point that I'm really fed up with like trying to do the marketing type stuff that's associated with promoting a blog, you know, trickling anticipation in, oh, this is coming, that's coming, or writing extra posts for SEO and all those things. I just don't have the time for it anymore. I mean, the pandemic's kind of coming to an end, mostly, we hope, and I just don't have the time to dedicate to this the way I did during the pandemic. I do still want to continue to add on to these comparisons because I think it's useful for a lot of people, but I'm also noticing that lots of the yarns that I compared last year are unavailable or straight up discontinued, and as soon as they get discontinued, I stop making affiliate revenue off of it, meaning that my time really doesn't get compensated in any fashion. I really appreciate the people who have like donated, sent me copies on Ko-Fi, all those things to help support this. But it's clearly, I mean, just by nature of the way yarns are being discontinued so quickly and the fact that the yarns that I like the best don't offer affiliate programs, it's not something that I can reasonably monetize. And I need to be able to focus on other ideas I had with the blog early on that can be monetized a little bit better. I have plans to, you know, want to design more patterns. I want to be able to do, like, put some of my really nice yarn photography to use in calendars and things. And I just don't have time to do that when I'm writing so many blog posts and doing so many videos. So what I'm going to do is I am going to continue to add on to the comparison with yarns that I already have. But you probably won't find out about it until I actually have a post up. I'm not going to do, again, none of the anticipation stuff. I'll do the swatch, and once it's been washed 15 times and I can show you where it fits in, then you'll get a post or a video. I might not even do posts anymore. I might just do videos because that's a lot less time investment for me. And if that's the case, then I may not even continue to have the blog and just have, you know, Google Docs hosted tables charting this stuff, and then I don't have to pay the $120 a year hosting fee that I am still not recouping. So I'm not absent. I am being lazy on the blog front just because I have so much other stuff to do, and it is going to reduce the amount of work that I'm putting into this, but I am by no means putting an end to this yet. And I want to make sure this resource stays available to people. So eventually, I think what I'm going to have is just one big, large chart of yarns, their softness, their durability ranking, not just acrylics. I'm going to start adding on some acrylic blends that I have, because I have like Premier's Cotton Fair, which is a cotton acrylic blend. Bernat has come out with their Softy Cotton. That's cotton acrylic blend, very, very similar to the Premier Cotton Fair. Premier Yarns also released they have a blend with this anti-pilling and a merino now, so that would be a great one to compare to the original too. So anyway, I still have lots of yarns that I want to add and everything so that that's available to you, but it's not going to be anywhere near as intense, and you will likely not see activity for months at a time starting now. This is probably going to be my last video for a little bit as I start wrapping up some projects around my house for the year, and maybe during the winter I'll be able to do more when the weather gets bad and I'm snowed in and I have nothing better to do. But that's the general update. I just wanted to get this out, get this info to people, because I know some of you were really waiting on like the pound of love and the basics. So now you know, for being a value yarn, like they're pretty standard. Pick based off of your colors and what you like working best with, because even if I prefer working with these ones, you still may have a soft spot for Red Heart Super Saver. So anyway, I hope this information helps. I hope you all are having a great summer, and I will talk to you when I talk to you. Thanks. Bye.